2020, and it is 7:30 p.m. I'm calling the regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen to order, and we will be meeting via teleconference. This evening, our prayer will be offered by City Clerk Susan Lovering, and Alderman Cleaver will lead us in the pledge.
Mighty God, we have the high honor and the serious duty to manage the affairs of our beloved city. Fill us, O God, with a spirit of unity and understanding, which enables us to face our multiple problems with a serene mind, with justice and charity for all, so that any and all decisions made by us will always be for the betterment and greater happiness of all our fellow citizens. So help us God. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As president of the Board of Aldermen, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-4, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are A, providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. To access Zoom, please refer to the agenda or the city's website for the meeting link. To join by phone, dial 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID is 815-3168-1211, and the passcode is 873807. The public may also view the meeting via channel 16. B, we are providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall and the Nashua Public Library. C, we are providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or channel 16, please call 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. D, adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods mentioned above, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone with you in the room during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien.
I am present. I can hear the proceedings and I am alone.
Alderman Clee.
I am here. I can hear the proceedings and I am alone.
Alderwoman Kelly.
I'm here. I can hear everyone. I'm alone.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes, I'm here. I can hear everyone. I am alone and practicing social distancing in accordance with the governor's orders.
Alderman Karen.
I am here. I can hear everyone and I am alone.
Alderman Clemens. Alderman Lopez.
I'm here, I am alone, and I am practicing social distancing, even though I'm really good at it at this point.
Alderman Tenza.
I'm here, I'm alone, and I can hear everyone.
Alderwoman Liu. I did not.
Can anyone else hear Alderman Liu? We can't hear you, Alderman Liu. Okay.
Alderman Jettie.
Alderman Jettie will not be joining us this evening.
Thank you, President Wiltshire. Alderman Schmidt,
I am here, I am alone, and I can hear everyone.
Alderman Laws, President Wiltshire, can you hear Alderman Laws?
I cannot.
Alderman Cleaver,
I'm here and I can hear everyone except Alderman Laws and alone.
Alderman Harry Gathright,
I am present. I can hear everyone, and I am practicing social distancing. And I have 3 family members here, but I'm in this room alone.
Alderman Wiltshire,
I'm here, I'm alone, and I can hear everyone. I'm social distancing. I believe Alderman Lou is back. Can't hear you, Alderman Lou. All right, Madam Clerk.
you have 11 in attendance.
Thank you very much.
Madam President, I'm back. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Thank you,
I'm gonna
Alderman.
take my video off though, just because I don't want to strain the internets here. Sorry.
Thank you, Alderman Laws. Also with us this evening is Mayor Donchis and Corporation Counsel Steve Bolton. Mayor, do you wish to address the board this evening?
Madam President, before we proceed on, I think we ought to do whatever is necessary so that we can all hear and she can hear us in the case of Alderwoman Lou.
Thank you. Alderman Lou, can you hear us?
Can you dial in?
I think she's trying to dial in.
Hello, Alderman Clemens is here.
Thank you, Alderman Clemens.
Maybe you should inquire if Alderman Clemens can hear us and establish whether he's alone or others are present.
Alderman Clemens.
Yes, I can hear everyone. I am by myself and social distancing at home.
Thank you, Alderman Clemens.
Also, President Wiltshire, the Director Marchand is with us this evening, and Assistant Chief Jim Testaverde.
Thank you, Alderman Dowd. Alderman Lou?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
You're on mute, Alderman Lou. Alderman Lou, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I can hear you. I'm alone in the room.
Okay. All right. Now, Mayor, do you wish to address the board?
Yes, thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
Well, first, as you all know, we had our primary election yesterday, which was the first of a kind, one in which people could vote via absentee with COVID-19 as their rationale. And as a result of that, we had many, many more absentee ballot requests than ever before. The number exceeded 5,000, although I don't believe all those votes were actually cast absentee, but over 3,000, and Ms. Lovering can give you the details, over 3,000 were cast via absentee. Again, this was a first of a kind event, and also the procedures that had been established by the state of New Hampshire for the city clerk to track all these ballots are very complex and very time consuming. There are multiple times when the city clerk or her staff has to check in with the state database, record various stages at which where the ballot is in the process. And during this entire time, Sue Lovering, the city clerk, and her staff worked way beyond expectations in order to make sure that this election came off. Ms. Lovering herself worked 7 days a week, entering data, taking care of other problems, registering people, many, many different tasks. And as we added to the staff through temporary workforce, managed a much larger workforce than she had in the past. Her staff also worked many extra hours and were entering this data and processing these absentee ballots. At times, we are getting 500 plus requests per day, and those all had to be processed quickly. So in the end, this never could have been pulled off without the extraordinary efforts of Ms. Lovering. The election went by with great success, and the count came in. And again, I can't say enough about how hard Sue worked. I went in at various times, at night, on a Saturday afternoon, there was Sue working away, as well as some of the staff members. So I just wanted to, we've got a bigger election coming up, but this was a great trial run. I think we've set up a good system. And again, it's all thanks to Ms. Lovering and her staff. Now, it's been my custom, Madam President, to update you on the coronavirus when we meet in this fashion at the meeting of the Board of Aldermen. We continue to have a very low number of cases, around 8 active cases in Nashua right now. And as you know, we've been very careful around City Hall to try to prevent any outbreaks by keeping City Hall closed in part, by requiring appointments, by limiting the number of people who have come in for automobile registration. And of course, I personally have limited the number of people that I met with in City Hall to a very small number on a small number of occasions. However, one of our City Hall employees called me, or excuse me, I think someone from the city government called me late Thursday, this past Thursday, and said that one of the people that I'd met with had a family member test positive for COVID-19. So I immediately, oh, really? So I immediately called that employee and said, you better get tested. I'll talk to Bobby Bagley, the Director of Public Health. We'll get you tested right away, which we did. But in talking about it, we decided that I and at least 1 or 2 others that had been in these meetings should also be tested. So I got tested Thursday night as well. A couple days went by, and on Saturday afternoon, I got the call from Director Bagley saying, well, your test was inconclusive. What does that mean? Well, to confirm a test, you need 2 strands of RNA. That's some kind of genetic material. You had 1, so we need to so we're going to retest you on Sunday. So Ms. Bagley, of course, she's also been working beyond the call of duty for many, many months. Ms. Bagley, who had already been up to the state on Saturday to deliver those tests, because more tests were run then, came to my house on Sunday morning. We ran the test again, and she called me later in the afternoon to say that you tested positive. So I tested positive. My wife also seems like she has symptoms. She's been tested, but the results haven't come back yet. I think the lesson here is that no matter how careful you are, that we need to continue to exercise a lot of caution. I have not gone, outdoor dining only, no group gatherings except at great distances. But despite all that, somehow this virus slipped through at City Hall, and there are several people, including myself, who have tested positive. So we need to continue to be careful. We want to continue to protect our neighbors, our friends. So far, for me, the disease hasn't been too severe, but certainly I know that I have a virus. So I just wanted to update you and let you know what had happened. Again, urge caution for the entire community, as we've been doing throughout the last 6 months or so. The next item on the agenda is the introduction of our new planning manager, which Ms. Marchant is going to handle. She will introduce you to Matthew Sullivan, who has come down from the North Country to join us, or will be coming down from the North Country to join us. Because I am feeling the effects of this, of the coronavirus, COVID-19, I am going to depart once Ms. Marchant is finished, but if you have any questions for me now would be the time to ask. That's all I have, Madam President.
Really sorry that you tested positive for that, but as you said, everyone needs to be on their best, you know, cautious every day, all the time. So I hope your symptoms clear up fast and you're feeling better.
Thank you.
Other responses to the remarks of the mayor. Alderman Lopez.
Yeah, I just want to express my concern for the mayor, and I hope you're getting the best care. I agree. Director Bagley has been doing an outstanding job and being responsive and quick to address these cases, and I'm glad that your case was identified very quickly. I hope that everything goes all right for you and for your wife.
Thank you.
Alderman Clee.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Mayor, I too would like to tell you that I hope you are feeling better, and that your wife is feeling equally better. I know these are kind of scary times, but I also know that the two of you are very strong. You'll kick it. Take care.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes, basically the same thing. Best wishes, Mr. Mayor, to you and your wife. Speedy recovery, and wish you the best.
Thank you, everyone.
Alderman Tenza.
I just wanted to briefly echo the mayor's comments as they relate to Ms. Lovering and the work that her office did with the elections yesterday. It wasn't easy. We've gotten some negative feedback, I think, but I think overall it was a positive experience for people to feel safe going out to vote in an environment where they can remain socially distant and wearing masks and doing it in a safe way. And then finally, Mr. Mayor, hope speedy recovery for you and Mrs. Donchis.
Anyone else? Alderman Cleaver.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank the mayor for all the hard work he's done and the mayor's staff and everybody at City Hall. And Ms. Lovering, that was an outstanding job you did in a very unusual circumstance. And we can't thank you enough. I think it went very, very, very well. But kudos to the mayor and to the staff and to Director Bagley and everybody in fighting this virus. Been a fantastic learning experience in many ways, but it's also been very, very, very hard work. We appreciate all that's been done.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes, I know that we had some concerns at Ward 6 because it's the Pennachuck Middle School, the Fairgrounds Middle School, and it's in the middle of construction right now. And we did what we could to make it passable, working with Ms. Lovering. And we did have a couple hiccups that we're not sure what were caused by, but it is being moved across the street to the elementary school for November, so there will not be an issue. And Mayor, I hope you and your wife kick this real fast.
Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Just want to echo all my colleagues' comments to the mayor. I hope that you and Vicky recover abundantly and soon. And to Sue Lovering and her staff, job well done. Ward 9 was well done. I did stay there to the end, and I actually watched them to unassemble and take down things, just really, really working as a team. So just want to say hats off to you as well. And of course to Director Bagley, the lady of the hour. Thank you so much for all that you've done, not just for the mayor, but for a lot of other families here in Nashua, because I've heard nothing but great things about your team and how they went overboard to help someone. get the testing that they needed. So just want to say thank you. Really appreciate it.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I'm going to go to recognition period.
Introduction of new planning manager Matthew Sullivan, AICP.
I'm going to recognize Community Development Division Director Sarah Marchant. Director Marchant.
Thank you, President Wilshire and the board. I am here before you tonight to introduce you to the new planning manager, Matthew Sullivan, AICP, who will be starting with us at the end of the month. This was a long search in seeking a new manager. We really needed a very broad skill set, and we were looking for somebody with the enthusiasm and energy to really bring this to this position, the board, and coming back into the new master planning effort. And we have been incredibly busy in this time. Bobby and her team have been doing an amazing job with the COVID response, and we have been keeping the economy moving smoothly with nonstop planning board, zoning board, conservation commission, and all of the applications moving right along through, and development has been proceeding at a pretty breakneck pace. So we're really excited to bring Matthew on board and to keep this moving. And I will let you give him a little bit of a background about himself. So introducing Matt, hopefully you can see him.
Mr. Sullivan.
Hey, everyone. Hey, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you having me this evening. I want to thank members of the board, Director Marchant, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate you taking the time to say hello, albeit in the circumstances that we are this evening virtually. I don't know if I can begin to express my enthusiasm for joining the city. Some background, Mr. Mayor said that I was from the North Country. That is true, but originally I was actually born in Nashua, lived there when I was for the first 5 years of my life on Huey Street, adjacent to the Mohawk Tannery. And then subsequently went through education in Milford, just next door. So I'm certainly well connected to the Nashua area. And in a way, this is a bit of a homecoming for me. So I'm very excited to come back and contribute to a community that's very near and dear to me. And just to simply add to that, my family and friends are still located in the Nashua area, many of which are actually working or living in Nashua. Certainly, I understand the role that both housing and economic development play in Nashua's character and how they will play a role in community development moving forward. As was mentioned, I was the planning director in Wolfboro, New Hampshire until just recently. Before that, I worked as a consulting planner for a regional planning commission in the Seacoast area of New Hampshire, working in Dover, Rochester, and other smaller communities in that area, focusing primarily on land use, economic development, and housing planning. Really great experience there and really gave me a taste of working in a more urban environment, which made me very excited to come back and exercise some of those skills in Nashua. And certainly working with Sarah and the team, I'm very excited about moving forward on efforts like the master plan, the comprehensive code update, and subsequent efforts that will come out of that. I'm ready to hit the ground running. I'll begin on September 28th. I'm extremely excited, again, albeit in light of the circumstances that are before us today. Excited to get started with the team and really get going on the master plan. I know that's one of our highest priority items right now. And I expect that through that, I'll get a chance to be exposed to each of you, hopefully in one sense or another, and certainly get to know the community in a better way. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have this evening. But again, I want to thank you again for your time for this brief sort of chat and get to know you. And hopefully we get a chance to meet in person sometime in the near future.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan, and thank you, Director Marchant. I hope that you're in for a big job because Nashua's got a big job for you. And
yeah.
A lot of excitement, right? We have a new master plan and all these things going on. It's a great time for you to be here. And I'm excited, for one, that Sarah found you. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. And you're so right. It seems like the perfect time to come on board. It seems like a very exciting time. And certainly I think both during and after COVID is going to be a very interesting time for the city. And hopefully the master plan gives us some direction on what that looks like moving forward. So thank you.
Well, that's going to be on you. I mean, not all of it.
That's right.
All right. Thank you both very much. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Sullivan?
I have a further comment.
Alderman Lopez.
I just wanted to make it before the mayor signs off. At the election yesterday, we did have an individual who had difficulty with the masking requirements for voting, and he presented evidence that he had some developmental disabilities. He was escalating emotionally very quickly. He had some verbal stuttering, and he was very, very agitated when he left. And Nashua police made sure to help de-escalate him out of concern for him. I was very impressed with how the officer approached it. I was very impressed with how the officer was able to calm him down and reassure him that he was going to be heard. He was going to get his chance to vote. President Wilshire's son did a very good job of making sure we had a contingency plan for people who were not able to vote with the mask on, which preserved their ability to keep their eyes on the ballot box, so that we would meet them in the back area. They could fill out the voting around the corner, and then they could watch as Barry brought it to the ballot box. So we had a contingency plan, but the experience of walking into a room where everyone around you was suddenly alarmed by you not wearing a mask was pretty intense for that individual. And it was Nashua Police who did a very good job, I think, of managing the person's symptoms, meeting with them where they were, and reassuring them that they were safe and that they were welcome where they were. So I just wanted to pass that on to you as a little bit of good news.
Thank you, Alderman Lopez. Deputy Testaverde, I hope you'll pass that along.
I absolutely will. I love the feedback. Positive is always better than negative, but we love the feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Did anyone have questions or anything for Mr. Sullivan before we let him go? Okay. Hello? I thought I heard someone speak up. I guess not. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan, and thank you, Director Marchant.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Reading minutes of previous meetings. If there being no objection, I'll declare the minutes of the Board of Aldermen meeting of August 11th, 2020 and the special Board of Aldermen meeting of August 24th, 2020 accepted, placed on file, and the reading suspended. Communications requiring only procedural actions and written reports from liaisons.
Communications been received from Donna Graham, Legislative Affairs Manager, regarding communications received from the public.
There being no objection, I'll accept the communications and place them on file. Period for public comment relative to items expected to be acted upon this evening. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on anything that we're going to be taking action on?
Hi, this is Beth Scaer.
Hi, Beth Scaer. If you could give your name and address for the record, and we will be happy to hear you.
111 Beth Scaer, 111 East Hobart Street. And I was just wondering, are you taking action on R20071, the bond issuing bonds for $8 million?
No, we're not. We're just referring that to committee. There won't be any action on that this evening.
Okay, that was all I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment?
Bob Keating.
Bob Keating.
Yes.
Mr. Keating?
Bob Keating at 5 Coburn Woods, and I'm speaking as a member of Granite State Organizing Project. And first, I want to echo the concerns that the aldermen have expressed to the mayor and his wife Vicky, and hope that his course and Vicky's course is very short and they're healthy very quickly. I'm speaking about on upcoming discussions tonight about the School Street flats. I've spoken as a member of Granite State Organizing Project on this before, but tonight my remarks are going to be primarily comments about the project's financing. That our concern is that there's a proposal to have $2.5 million of city funds in the form of a bond that's going to be used for this project. It's being framed as that is a public good, but it is clear that without this project, there would be no need for additional parking, as there is 78 spaces there currently. So the question is that why are we taking a public resource, the parking lot currently, which is generating revenues, and that we're selling that property over to a private developer, and essentially is going to be $2.5 million of city funds plus an additional $100,000 for other infrastructure related requirements for this project. And clearly, we have not done that for a number of the most recent projects that have been approved by the city, including the Henry Hangar, and the Corvo Roofier, and certainly the Marshall Street properties.
Mr. Keating, are you talking about a specific thing we're taking action on this evening?
Well, my understanding is that you're going to be talking about the financing for the School Street flats.
Okay, I don't see that on the agenda this evening.
Is that it is not? It was at least I made an error that it was on the, I believe, the agenda that was posted.
But we're not taking action on it this evening, Mr. Keating. So the first public comment period is only for items that we're expected to be acting upon this evening. We're
So
not acting on that this evening.
You're not going to act. You're just going to discuss it. Okay. Well, I'll stop my remarks at this point then.
Thank you very much. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. Communications requiring final approval.
Communication's been received from David G. Fredette, Treasurer Tax Collector, regarding purchase replacement for one 2019 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle from fiscal year 2021 Capital Equipment Reserve Fund, SURF.
Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make a motion to accept, place on file, and approve the purchase of a 2020 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle in the amount of $49,516.50 to be taken from the SURF account and awarded to Municipal Vehicles of Marlborough, Mass. By roll call. And Madam President, may I speak to my motion?
Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you. As we have heard, and just to familiarize us again, this is replacing a Ford Interceptor that was involved, unfortunately, in an accident. It is a first-line piece for the police department. It responds on 911 emergencies, and it is definitely needed by the fleet to complete the police department mission. And I hope you all join me in voting in favor of this. And I see Deputy Chief Testaverde is also here, and I'm sure he's here to speak on it if there are further questions. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. You've heard the motion is to accept, place on file, and approve the purchase of a 2020 Ford Police Interceptor. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
Alderman Clee.
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman Clemmons.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Tenza.
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt.
Yes.
Alderman Laws. Alderman Laws. Alderman Cleaver.
Yes.
Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
You have 13 yeas and 0 nays. I did not hear Alderman Laws, President Wilshire.
Yeah, I don't see that he's on.
13 yeas and 0 nays.
Madam President, Alderman Laws was having some problems before. I don't know if he's still having some. That's why he had gone to just shutting off his camera, hoping that that would help. So he was probably disconnected again.
So that was 13-0. That motion carries.
Communication from Doria Brown, Energy Manager, regarding update on the city's community power efforts.
And I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize the Energy Manager, Doria Brown. She'll be giving us just a brief presentation on that. Ms. Brown?
Hi, I'm Doria Brown, and I'm so happy to be here and see all of your faces for the first time in a really long time. So, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, that's awesome. I wanted to do a brief update on where I am with community power. I am on a little bit of a cell phone computer kind of situation to be able to be on camera with you guys. So I don't think I'm able to present the presentation, but I sent it over earlier. Is that okay? Or
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I'm doing a quick update on community power. I have a little outline on what I want to talk about today in the presentation. So I want to talk about the status of the community power efforts, the idea of joining with a collective of communities who want to share a back office for a community power program, and the request that a member of the Board of Aldermen, joins our aggregation committee so that we can complete that group and start having regular meetings. So first, I wanted to do a brief background on what is community power, because I know that we might not have heard about it in a little bit. So community power will allow the city to purchase electricity supply from third-party suppliers and on the wholesale market on behalf of its residents, instead of Eversource purchasing that power. The utility, which is Eversource, will still maintain control of the delivery portion of the bill. So they will maintain the lines and sending that power to everybody's home. Through aggregation, the city will be able to charge less per kilowatt hour than the utility, while also potentially collecting 1/10 of a cent brokerage fee from the third-party supplier. That money will hopefully be able to be reinvested in energy programs for the community and help us further our way to our 100% renewable energy goal by 2050. So this will really help us reinvest back into our community and kind of own our own renewable energy resources. So right now, the project status is that we are currently in a process of creating a draft aggregation plan, which is the first step to creating this program. I have a draft aggregation plan for the Nashua Aggregation Committee to review when we start meeting. I have requested a lot of data from Eversource, including the number of energy accounts in Nashua, and we found that we have 48,860 accounts, and we use about 404,000 megawatt hours every year. So we are quite the user as a city. We have been attending regular data meetings with the Public Utility Commission to work on rulemaking for this program, so that we can work with our utilities and get the data and information that we need to move these programs forward. That's kind of what is a big step in this, because we need a set of rules to be created in order for us to work with our utilities and start a community aggregation. So that's kind of one of the big things that we've been working on and kind of lobbying for as a city. So one program that we are considering doing is joining a back office with a collaboration of other communities in New Hampshire. This will allow us to kind of share the cost of upkeep of this program. So when you create a community power program, you have to have customer service. Somebody has to be purchasing supply and maintaining all of these accounts. Like I said earlier in this presentation, we have about 48,000 accounts. So it's going to be very difficult for one energy manager to do by herself. So joining this back office will help us have the staff and be able to free up the time to be able to maintain this program. And in the future, we'd like to reinvest in renewable energy together, because when you put all of our money together as communities, our dollar's stronger together. So the communities in this program include Nashua, Lebanon, Hanover, and Cheshire County. We are currently actually in the process of working with legal representation that's being funded by Lebanon and Hanover to incorporate this group. And it will be a non-for-profit called Community Power New Hampshire, and for short, it would be CPNH. So that's kind of like the programming that we're trying to form to start this effort as a community. Sorry, my computer froze for a second. Oh, technical difficulties. This might be a good time to pause for questions. I know I'm very much talking quickly.
Does anyone have any questions? Alderman Cleaver.
I'd just like to say thank you to Ms. Brown. Nice to meet you very much. And also, I would like to be a member of the committee. I've volunteered to do that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Alderman Lu.
Just a couple of simple questions. The back office is just another name for
I apologize, but I can't hear you.
Sorry.
Alderman Lu, we can't hear you.
Okay.
We could defend.
I heard back office. If you want a little bit more information about the back office, I can send you a one-page information sheet that I have about a joint back office for community power, if that would help.
That'd be great. If you could send that to the full board, that would be great.
I can definitely do that. I also have a link for a website that we've created to kind of educate people such as yourselves about community power and this back office we're trying to form. So my next slide. Oh, sorry. Did we have any more questions?
Alderman Lopez?
I actually just wanted to suggest to Alderman Lu, because I know she's struggling with her IT. Your phone is pretty audible. What I would suggest is stepping away from your computer, because your computer audio is being picked up on your phone and creating that reverb. So if you take a couple of steps away while you're using your phone, I think we could probably.
Well, thank you, IT guy. Anyone else have any questions for Doria Brown? Did you want to continue, Doria?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So my last slide is that I'm hoping to establish bi-monthly meetings for October and November to get members up to speed about the aggregation planning, and then do monthly thereon after. And well, lastly, we need a member from the Board of Aldermen to get this going. And after completing the aggregation plan, the role of this committee should be to participate in the community power New Hampshire, picking programming that helps further Nashua's climate and energy bill reduction goals. So that was the end of my presentation. So if there are any further questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your being here this evening to bring us up to speed.
I appreciate you having me. It's been awesome.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes, Doria, is part of this all the solar that we're putting in and all the buildings in Nashua, including all the schools? Is that part?
No, this is not a part of our solar programming. But once we do purchase those solar installations, this can become a part of our community aggregation program, where we can sell any excess solar that we generate back to our community, or not sell it, but give it back to our community to help with energy bill reduction. So it's not part of the program right now, but there is potential for us to work that into the program in the future.
And I know that you've been working with us very closely on doing the solar in as many schools as we can. And it's ultimately going to save the city a lot of money in electricity.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you very much again for being here this evening. We appreciate, and we will get back to you on a member of the board. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, petitions.
There are none.
Nominations, appointments, and elections.
Joint convention.
I'm sorry, Alderwoman Wilshire, were we supposed to vote on that? I have a motion in front of me.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Well, that would be good if we did that. The motion by Alderwoman Kelly was to approve the city joining a collective of communities who want to share a back office to serve the community power program and nominate one Board of Aldermen member to serve on the city's aggregation committee for community power by roll call.
That was my motion.
Thank you, Alderwoman Kelly. Any discussion on that motion? Alderman Lopez.
One Board of Aldermen is the minimum. Should we leave an?
Should we what?
Should we leave alternate?
Should we have an alternate?
Yeah.
Well, we can certainly talk about that. I don't know how all this came up, so I'd have to look at what what brought it to this point, so.
We can always amend it. I was just asking because I'd like to hope for the worst.
Okay. Thank you, Alderman Lopez. Anyone else? Alderwoman Lou.
Thank you. I didn't realize we were voting on this tonight, and I was hoping to speak with Ms. Doria. Is this something that we need to decide tonight? I haven't really had a chance to talk to her. I actually had a couple of the questions, but
Alderman Lou, we can't hear you anymore. I mean, you said you had a few questions. He's still here. You can ask questions.
My only question is, could we defer the vote until we have a chance to review the program? I don't really know anything about this program.
We're having a hard time hearing you, Alderman Lou.
Okay.
Doria is still on, Alderman Lou, if you want to ask her some questions. Alderwoman Kelly.
Thank you. I wanted to just quickly voice over. Thank you, Doria, for doing this hard work. And I know that this is a program that will allow us to do some more energy efficiency work here in the city, which is really important to us. We have been talking about this program in the Energy and Environment Committee for a number of months. So I'm inclined to vote on this evening so we can move forward. I also just wanted to offer up that I'm happy to be on the aggregation committee. I would like to help support that. So that's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Clee.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe that, I don't know if this will help Alderman Lou at all, but I believe that Alderman Lou had asked Dory about the back office, and I know she's going to be sending us a quick sheet, but maybe if that would be good, that she could kind of give a quick little briefing of whether would that be okay? I don't know, and I don't know if that would help Alderman Lou a little bit to understand better.
I don't know if it would. Alderman Lou?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to point out that the Energy Committee, those meeting minutes, I don't believe are available on the website. I've never, seen any minutes, so I really don't have any of that information. But my main concern is, I guess I'd feel better if I understood whether Nashua residents have choices, etc. If it's an exploratory committee, fine. But to say that, it's been very clear, I don't think that I wouldn't know how to get access to the Energy Committee meeting minutes. Thank you.
If I could speak up for a second, is that okay?
Yes.
So the Environment Energy Committee meetings minutes aren't up because I've been having a hard time being able to upload them. That is my thing that I do, so I can definitely send them to you. Also, when it comes time to talk about a back office or a shared back office, I think that, in my opinion, it might be better to talk about it in the aggregation committee, because that group will have more time to learn about what CPNH is up to in the governance meetings. I'm sorry to interrupt your meeting and your process, but I was hoping to be able to talk more with the aggregation committee about moving forward with this program as a part of the joint back office, and being able to come back and talk to you guys about it afterwards, because it will all be a part of the aggregation plan. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll stop talking.
That's okay. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yeah, Dory, can you just explain so that everyone understands when we're putting this aggregation committee together, it's not saying we're definitely doing this. It's a planning portion of this, correct?
Yes. So what we need to do right now is create an aggregation plan, and the aggregation committee, I know I'm saying aggregation a lot, will create that plan, and then the Board of Aldermen will then review that plan and adopt it. And then that plan has to go out to public comment before it can be established. So there are multiple steps that we have to go through to get this through. So kind of being a part of that joint back office would be approved in the aggregation plan that needs to be created and finalized.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have any questions or concerns? Alderman Lopez.
Personally, as long as this goes to a vote, I'm going to vote in favor of moving forward because we have been talking about this since at least February. There have been multiple mayoral addresses on the topic. We've had presentations and discussions in full board meetings, and there has been the energy committee. So I feel like if, as individuals, we're interested in following a topic, we really need to do that and not try to retroactively catch up when it's already underway. Dory is doing a good job. She's very organized and she knows her material. We're lucky to have her. And there's a point where we have to remember that our role is to legislate and fund, not micromanage.
Anyone else? We have a motion before us. Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderman Karen,
Yes.
Alderman Clemmons,
You okay?
Yes.
Alderman Lopez,
Yes.
Alderman Tenza,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Harriet Gathright,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
You have 14 yeas and 0 nays.
And that motion carries. Petitions,
There was none.
right, nominations, appointments, and elections.
Joint convention with Edgewood Cemetery Board of Trustees.
There being no objection, I will declare that the Board of Aldermen meet in joint convention with the trustees of Edgewood Cemetery for the purpose of renominating one trustee and call for nomination. So I would call, is Mr. Maffey with us this evening?
Madam President,
Mr. Maffey.
this is Tom Mappy, 18 Colony Way, President of the Board of Edgewood Cemetery,
Okay.
and the trustees nominate Brian Law.
Okay, so the name and for nomination is Brian Law. Any other nominations? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien,
Brian Law.
Alderman Clee,
Brian Law.
Alderwoman Kelly,
Sorry. Brian Law.
Alderman Dowd,
Brian Law.
Alderman Karen,
Brian Law.
Alderman Clemmons,
Brian Law.
Alderman Lopez,
Brian Law.
Alderman Tenza,
Brian Law.
Alderwoman Lou,
Brian Law.
thank you. Alderman Schmidt,
Brian Law.
Alderman Laws,
Mr. Brian Law with no S.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes. Brian Law.
Alderman Harriet Gathright,
Brian Law.
Alderman Wilshire,
Uh-oh, I broke for Brian Law with no S.
Trustee
you,
Andrade,
Alderman Laws.
Brian Law.
Trustee Armstrong, Trustee Douglas Barker,
Mr. Law.
Trustee Alan Barker, Trustee Hall. Trustee Hollis.
Brian Law.
Trustee Long.
Brian Law.
Trustee Maffey.
Brian Law.
Mayor Hodges. You have 19 for Brian Law.
Thank you. That motion carries, and I will declare Brian Law duly appointed to the Edgewood Cemetery for a term to expire March 31st, 2025. Will the Corporation Counsel administer the oath of office? Thank you.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all of the duties incumbent upon you as a trustee of the Edgewood Cemetery, according to the best of your abilities and agreeably to the Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire and the rules and regulations of the city charter, so help you God.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Law.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Congratulations.
serving.
Thank you all.
Thank you all very much. Kudos. So there being no objection, I will declare the joint convention now arise. Reports of committees. There being no objection, I'll declare the report of the August 10th, 2020 Affairs Committee accepted and placed on file. There being no objection, I will declare the report of the August 12th, 2020 Budget Review Committee accepted and placed on file. There being no objection, I will declare the report of the August 18th, 2020 Planning and Economic Development Committee accepted and placed on file. There being no objection, I will declare the report of the August 19th, 2020 Finance Committee accepted and placed on file. There being no objection, I will declare the report of the August 24th, 2020 Budget Review Committee accepted and placed on file. There being no objection, I will declare the report of the August 26th Committee on Infrastructure accepted and placed on file. There being no objection, I will declare the report of the September 2nd, 2020 Finance Committee accepted and placed on file. Confirmation of mayor's appointments.
There is none.
Unfinished business resolutions.
Second reading of Resolution R 2053, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $27,000 from the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation into Public Health and Community Services Grant Activity, Fiscal Year 2021, NHCF, Substance Misuse Prevention.
Alderman Karen.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to make a motion for final passage of R-20-053 by roll call.
The motion is for final passage. Is there discussion on that motion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
Alderman Clee.
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman Clemmons.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Tenza.
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver.
Yes.
Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
You have 14 yeas and 0 nays.
And that motion carries. Resolution 20-53 is declared duly adopted.
Second reading of Resolution R 2056, relative to the transfer of $1,445,000 from Department 194 Contingency, Account 70112, Contingency for Educational Priorities, to various school department accounts.
Alderman Schmidt.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move for final passage of R-20-056 by roll call.
Motion is for final passage. Discussion on that motion. Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
Alderman Clee.
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman Clemmons.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez,
Yes.
Alderman Tenza,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Harriet Gathright,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
You have 14 yeas and 0 nays.
That motion carries and resolution 20-56 is declared duly adopted.
Second reading of resolution R 2057, authorizing the mayor and the city treasurer to issue bonds not to exceed the amount of $20 million to refund all or a portion of certain outstanding bonds of the city in order to achieve interest cost savings.
Alderman Schmidt.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move for final passage of R 20-057 by roll call.
Motion is for final passage of resolution 2057. Discussion on that motion? Alderwoman Lou.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I had a question about the last paragraph in the communication we received on this.
Okay.
It said that it's most efficient to do this because we have upcoming bond issuance planned. I just want to know what the upcoming issuance relates to.
I would defer to the chair of budget if he chooses to answer. Alderman Dowd.
I think we're talking about the fact that we always have upcoming bonding. And in order to save money, we are refinancing current bonding when allowed to get a lower rate and save the city money so that we can keep the bonding level at a level value as we add other bonds. It's not relating to any specific bond.
Does that answer your question, Alderman Lou?
Well, my concern, I wondered if it was referring to the bond authorization that we are going to discuss tonight, I think, or we will receive the first reading tonight.
I don't think this, like Alderman Dowd said, it's not specific to any future bond. It's just anything that comes up in the future, not one specific one.
Madam President, it refers to bonds that this board has already approved that the city treasurer is planning to go out for. If you go out for multiple issues at the same time, you save transaction costs. So I believe what Treasurer Fredette is referring to is pursuant to prior approvals, there will be bonding occurring in the normal course this year. If we combine those transaction costs with this $20 million, we'll realize a savings from that combination, as well as the savings from the reduced interest rates on this $20 million worth of debt.
Well, thank you. I thought a simple question. I thought someone would have been able to say, oh, yeah, it's for the DPW or it's for the Performing Arts Center. But thank you. It sounds very general.
I think if the question were addressed to Treasurer Fredette, he could probably give you that answer. He's got these things scheduled out. He unfortunately is not here this evening. I'm sure he would have provided a response had he known.
Anyone else? Motion is for final passage of resolution 2057. Seeing none, would the clerk please? Did someone speak up? No. Okay. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderman Karen,
Yes.
Alderman Clemmons,
Yes.
Alderman Lopez,
Yes.
Alderman Tenza,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Harriet Gathright,
Yes.
Alderman Wiltshire.
Yes.
You have 14 yeas and 0 nays.
That motion carries. Resolution 2057 is declared duly adopted.
Second reading of Resolution R 2058, approving the cost items of a collective bargaining agreement between the Nashua Board of Police Commissioners and Teamsters Local 633 from July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2022, and related transfers.
Alderman Clemmons.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move for final passage of R 2058 by roll call.
Motion is for final passage of R 2058. Discussion on that motion. Alderman Lopez.
Just asking if the committee members that were present could maybe illustrate some of the high points of this, specifically because we did turn down the fire contract because of concerns about upcoming contracts that would be negotiated. So a couple of the differences might be helpful for the public to understand why some contracts get approved and some don't.
I will defer that answer to Alderman Dowd. Alderman Dowd.
Yes, this particular group, and I can defer at a moment to Deputy Chief Distributivity, but this group had a relatively low increase the last contract around, and right at the moment, this group is underpaid in relationship to their peers in other cities in the area. But so this, while it is 2.5% for 2 years, is probably very fair given their status from the last contract and the fact that there's a small number in this group and that some of these people are desperately in need of getting on a par with their equals. Deputy Chief.
Thank you, Alderman Dowd. Good evening, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to point out a couple of the specifics of this contract. So first of all, this group is a civilian group within our agency. Nashua Police has 179 officers, as you know, when we're at full complement, which we're getting close, fortunately. But we have roughly 68 civilians that are the backbone of the agency. And without this civilian population, we would be taking numerous officers off the street to do this work. This union in particular has 28 individuals, and they are our custodians, our fleet maintenance or our auto mechanics, our administrative assistants in the Detective Bureau, professional standards, services, our booking specialists. These are civilian employees that full-time book prisoners that we bring in and on a day-to-day basis are being exposed to not only the COVID pandemic, but MRSA, hepatitis, every other communicable disease you can name. Our records and financial, our finance people, all of Karen Smith's, who I know you're very familiar with, all of her people, our crime analysts, and our accreditation. Out of the 28 individuals, I can tell you that over 1/3 are making $38,000 a year. There are only 3 individuals that break the $50,000 a year mark. And I hate talking about numbers, just matter of factly like that, but it's important for you to know, out of those 3 individuals, one has been employed for 37 years by the National Police Department, just barely cracks the $50,000 mark. The other 2 are crime analyst, who is required that she have a master's degree to do what she does, and in many other requests that the men and women that I'm looking at right now have made of the Nashua Police Department. She's integral in us being able to get you the information that you need. And our accreditation manager, which now more than ever, as you all know, we told that we've been accredited since 1991, and now more than ever in this country, I truly believe that accreditation is what will separate quality professional police departments from other areas of the country that are having trouble. So Mr. William Pease is worth his weight literally in gold. So our employees are making a very, very meager amount of money. This is a fair contract given the pandemic, given the insurance hike, given the pension hike, and given the amount of Nashuans that are out of work right now. And I said last time to budget review, but I'd like you all to hear, when the mayor speaks, and when you all speak and you provide the police department with the information that you provide us with, we do listen. And that's why I'm pointing out, we understand what the plight is for the city. We understand where we're about to head next year financially as a city, but you're looking at a small population of individuals. These are our people, these are your people, and they're making a very meager amount. And honestly, I just think it's professional dedication that keeps a lot of them coming back here. I'm amazed. With this particular group, we do not have the retention issue that some other areas have, and I'm afraid in the future, you will see, if you are good enough to pass this, and I'll entertain any questions by any of you, but if you are good enough, you will see me in the future advocating passionately to get their wages up. But for now, this group, I want to make one final comment. I speak to a lot of my peers outside the police department throughout the city when they're negotiating contracts, some of the plights that they have. They have good employees, but let's face it, contract negotiations are just, no one likes to be involved in them. I believe Attorney Bolton would agree because he sits in the room through most of these. This group, I've never had an easier contract negotiation session. They were professional, they were understanding, they were absolutely fair. And it was a matter of a handful of meetings during the pandemic, and we were able to come to an agreement. And I'll end it with, I would always say this is a fair contract, or I wouldn't be before you, but this is not an outstanding contract as far as financially benefiting our employees, unfortunately, but they want to be part of the solution right now and not part of the problem. With that, I defer to any questions.
Deputy, also, they're not part of the city's health plan. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
You're absolutely right. So that's an excellent part. We have really worked hard to help the city through the health crisis that we are as insurance. We've gotten numerous employees to switch to the high savings, high deductible plan. This particular group is carved out from that. So it's not that they're not willing to help out. They're just, it just doesn't apply to them whatsoever. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Deputy. Anyone else? Alderman Lopez.
Yeah, I just wanted to qualify my statement a little bit, that I'm not, again, trying to pitch fire against police, because for some reason I keep stepping on that. But it's because there are multiple union contracts that are coming forward over the next couple of years, or over the next couple of months, that we're gonna have to look at. So I just thought it was important, because I did catch the budget review committee where this was being discussed, and I heard the explanation. I'm satisfied, and I plan on supporting it. I just want to make sure that that's part of the public meeting, that we do a quick summary because of how contentious that specific need is. Although I will say, for the record, $40,000 seems like a lot to me, but whatever, I'll talk to my boss.
Alderman Clemmons.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, in regards to what Alderman Lopez just said, that when I look at an collective bargaining agreement, I look at it by itself, and I vet each one on the merits of each individual contract. And so I personally don't like to compare one to the other, because I believe that that's an unfair, thing to do. So for myself, I'm supporting this contract because these folks deserve the raise. They're hardworking people. The police department couldn't run without them, and I think they deserve this raise. And I'm happy to vote for this contract.
Anyone else? Alderman Clee. Alderman Clee.
That's okay. Thank you very much, Madam President. I just want to make a comment. I know that it was commented about that these particular individuals deal with COVID and various other types of things. And I just want to make it very clear that so do our firefighters, as do all of our police officers and all of our first line workers and so on. I just want to get that out there that we're not taking and saying that these particular individuals are the only ones that are doing that. And I do echo Alderman Clemens' comment relative to the fact that we need to look at each one individually. I supported the fireman's contract, and my first gut reaction was I didn't want to put this one before the other one, but I don't want to hold anybody else up either. So I will be supporting this.
Anyone else? Alderman Lu.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I just had a question. When we have just passed a budget, how does it work when we then increase salaries of a group of people? Do we then just need to add money to their budget for this year?
No, they've already budgeted for that. The money's been put in contingency negotiations. We were anticipating this. All set, Alderman Lu?
Yep.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Cleaver.
Yes, thank you very much. I think this is a very fair contract. I support it 100%. As a matter of fact, I think it's under what it should be. And these people deserve what they get. I'm concerned about their being underpaid relative to peers in the area. And also retention is a big issue. So I think they deserve it, and let's support them 100%.
Okay, anyone else? Motion is for final passage of resolution 20-58 by roll call. Seeing no one, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
Alderman Clee.
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman Clemens.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Tenza.
Yes.
Alderwoman Lu. Alderwoman Lu.
Yes.
Thank you. Alderman Schmidt.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver.
Yes.
Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
You have 14 yeas and 0 nays.
That motion carries, and resolution 20-58 is declared duly adopted.
Second reading of resolution R 2060, relative to the approval of the purchase of one transit van from the Capital Equipment Replacement Fund, SURF, during fiscal year 2021.
Alderwoman Kelly.
I move for final passage of R 2060 by roll call.
The motion is for final passage of resolution 20-60. Discussion on that motion. Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alderman Clee.
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman Clemens.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Tenza.
Yes.
Alderwoman Lu.
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver.
Yes.
Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
You have 14 yeas and 0 nays.
That motion carries and resolution 20-60 is declared duly adopted.
Second reading of resolution R 2061, relative to the supplemental appropriation of $63,865 of unanticipated revenue into Fund 7026, Capital Equipment Reserve Fund.
Alderman Dowd.
I'd like to make a motion for final passage of R 20-061 by a roll call.
Motion is for final passage of resolution 2061. Discussion on that motion. Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderman Karen,
yes,
Alderman Clemmons,
Yes.
Alderman Lopez,
Yes.
Alderman Tenza,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
yes,
Alderman Schmidt,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Harriet Gathright,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
You have 14 yeas and 0 nays.
And that motion carries. Resolution 20-61 is declared duly adopted. Unfinished business ordinances.
You have just the tabled ordinance O 2017.
They don't know if there's any desire to remove that from the table this evening. Okay, new business resolutions.
First reading of resolution R 2066, approving the cost items of a collective bargaining agreement between the Nashua Board of Education and the Nashua Association of School Administrators and Supervisors, American Federation of School Administrators, AFL-CIO, from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, and related transfers.
Additional sponsors? Alderwoman Harriet Gathright, Alderman Lopez, Alderman Schmidt, Alderman Clee, Alderman O'Brien, Alderman Cleaver, Alderman Clemmons, and myself. Given its first reading, I'll assign that to the Budget Review Committee.
First reading of resolution R 2067, establishing the use of fund balance for tax rate.
Additional sponsors? Alderman Tenza, Alderman Clee, Alderman Lopez, Alderman Schmidt, Alderwoman Kelly, Alderman Laws with an S, and myself. Oh, and Alderwoman Harriet Gathright.
and myself,
And Alderman Karen.
Alderman Karen.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes. Given its first reading, I'll assign that to the Budget Review Committee.
First reading of resolution R 2068, relative to the use of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development Home Investment Partnership Program funds for acquisition and rehabilitation of 82 to 92 Amherst Street.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Lopez, Alderman Dowd, Alderman Harriet Gathright, Alderman Schmidt, Alderman Cleaver, Alderman Laws, and myself. Given its first reading, I'll assign that to the Human Affairs Committee.
First reading of resolution R 2069, relative to the reappropriation of fiscal year 2021 escrows.
Additional sponsors? Alderman Dowd, Alderman Laws. Given its first reading, I'll assign that to the Budget Review Committee.
First reading of R 2070, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $294,676 from the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation into Public Health and Community Services grant activity, community health worker support to vulnerable populations.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Laws, Alderman Dowd, Alderman Cleaver, Alderman Lopez, Alderman O'Brien,
Alderman Karen.
Alderman Karen, Alderman Clee, Alderwoman Harriet Gathright, Alderman Schmidt, and myself. Given its first reading, I will assign that to the Human Affairs Committee.
First reading of R 2071, authorizing the mayor and city treasurer to issue bonds not to exceed the amount of $8 million for 2 construction projects consisting of a publicly accessible ground level parking garage $2,500,000, and additional funding for the proposed Performing Arts Center, $5,500,000.
Additional sponsors: Alderman Dowd, Alderman Clemmons, Alderwoman Kelly, Alderman Klee, Alderman Cleaver, and
I'm
myself.
half sponsoring.
Alderman Lopez?
The half sponsor.
Given its first reading, I'll assign it to the Budget Review Committee and schedule a special Board of Aldermen public hearing on Monday, September 28th, 2020 at 7 p.m.
First reading of Resolution R 2072, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $356,046 from the United States Department of Transportation Federal Transit Administration and $26,828 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Transportation into Transit Grant Activity, Low or No Emission Grant Program.
Additional sponsors: Alderman Schmidt, Alderwoman Harriet Gathright, Alderman Dowd, Alderman Cleaver, Alderwoman Kelly, Alderman Laws, Alderman Klee, Alderman O'Brien, and myself. Given its first reading, I will assign that to the Human Affairs Committee.
First reading of Resolution R 2073, authorizing the mayor to enter into pilot agreement pursuant to RSA 7274 with Pennachuck Waterworks, Inc.
Additional sponsors: Alderman Dowd, Alderman Harriet Gathright, Alderman Laws, Alderman O'Brien, Alderman Cleaver, and myself. Given its first reading, I'll assign that to the Pennachuck Water Special Committee. New business ordinances.
First reading of Ordinance O 2030, adopting a tax increment financing TIF development district under RSA 162K and NRO 29511, the School Street TIF, and a tax increment financing development program and financing plan for the new TIF.
Additional sponsors: Alderman Klee, Alderman O'Brien, Alderman Schmidt, Alderman Dowd. Did you have your hand up?
Yes.
Alderman Dowd, Alderman Lopez, Alderwoman Kelly, Alderman Clemmons, and myself. Given its, did I miss someone? No, okay. Given its first reading, I'll assign it to the Planning and Economic Development Committee, Budget Review Committee, and schedule a special Board of Aldermen public hearing on Monday, September 28th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Period for general public comment.
That's going to be a joint meeting, by the way.
Yes, that's a joint meeting, correct. Period for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the board?
Yeah, this is Beth Scaer.
Okay, name and address, please.
111 East Hobart Street.
Okay.
I just emailed the board about the personnel admin meeting tomorrow, and I was wondering if there was going to be public comment then.
For tomorrow's personnel meeting?
Yeah, the one considering where they're talking about the face coverings. Personnel admin affairs meeting.
Okay, Alderman Karen?
Yes, we certainly will have public comment at that meeting tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
Will it be added to the agenda?
Alderman Karen?
I'm sorry, say that again.
She asked if it would be added to the agenda. I don't have the agenda in front of me, so I can't answer.
I don't either, but we usually do have a time for public comment.
So you'll make that available, right, Alderman Karen?
Yes, we will.
They
yes,
will.
We will.
Okay, then I'll hold my comment for tomorrow evening. Thank you.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Mr. Keating.
Thank you for recognizing me. This is Bob Keating from 5 Coburn Woods. I'll keep it brief since I did the introduction earlier in the meeting, and I'm speaking about R 2071 and Ordinance 2030 to say we're concerned from JSOP about the use of public funds, the $2.5 million, and the proposed sale of the land that would allow for the development. I understand there's going to be a meeting on the 28th at 7 p.m. And we'll speak more at that time. But I just wanted to to raise the concerns about that. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board from the public? Seeing none. Remarks by members of the board. Alderman Clemmons.
Thank you, Madam President. So first, I just want to say that I hope the mayor and his family recover quickly from COVID-19. That is a very scary thing to happen. My wife's school district got a scare. Yesterday, Wyndham High School had to shut down and do remote learning for the rest of the week, and then that beyond that will be determined. So it's, even though we've had a relatively good summer, it's definitely around, and we need to keep following the advice of our governor and our local officials. One other thing I regret to inform the community, as I'm sure we know by now, but wanted to mention Dennis Hansen passed away in late August. And Dennis owned Hansen's Automotive on West Hollis Street. Mm-hmm. And he had been a member of the community for 43 years while he owned that shop. And though he didn't live in Nashua, he certainly affected Nashua. He had many loyal customers over the years, me included, my family included. And he served this community well by being fair and honest and being a place where people could go and know that they were going to get quality service without a hassle. And Dennis was really beloved in the community. He retired, I want to say 2 years ago, and he lived life to the fullest. He enjoyed his retirement all the way up to the very end, and that was very nice to hear. Although I wish, obviously, it had been longer. But I know that when I get up to heaven, I know who my mechanic will be. I'm sure that Dennis will be there ready to fix all my automobiles. So thank you very much, Madam President. I hope everybody has had a safe and happy Labor Day, and see you at the next meeting.
Thank you, Alderman Clemmons. Anyone else wish to address the board? Alderman Clee.
Thank you, Madam President. I really want to send out some sincere thanks to our city clerk and all of her staff. Like the mayor said, anytime you turned around, Sue was working day, night, weekend, and I can tell you that as I worked at the farmers markets on Sundays, you could see Sue going in. I have to also make a side comment that I've often seen Dave Fredette going in as well. So we have some incredibly loyal city workers, but the city clerk's office went far beyond what we could have expected. Yeah. My same goes with Director Bagley and all her staff. But I want to address something that I know some of my constituents have contacted me about, and that is City Hall not being open, and that they really appreciate the fact that the city has gone above and beyond trying to make accommodations for them with the outside, with the Department of Motor Vehicles. The fact that the mayor, who takes as many precautions as possible, and I know I'm sure our city workers who have families and so on are doing all these precautions. The reason City Hall is not open is fully where we can just come and go as we please. At least in my opinion, and I believe this to be true, is that we have confined spaces, and asking people to work where they're maybe putting their own families at harm's way and so on. I'm glad that City Hall is doing everything that they're doing. I hope that we don't have to go back, but the fact that we've had employees that are ill, and now with the mayor, his wife, and so on. It's critical that we do everything that we possibly can. And I know it's not popular with some people, but masks, washing your hands, maintaining social distancing. And as one of my constituents said to me, stay downwind from people. So, I want to leave it at that. Is please stay safe. I wish the mayor the best, and I want to thank our incredible city workers for everything that they've done.
Alderman Lopez.
This has been a really difficult month for Ward 4. I mean, in general, I'm sure experiencing it, but it does feel like when you're in a neighborhood, like that's the one that's suffering most. So I want to echo Alderman Clemens' sentiment regarding Dennis Hansen. I worked with him for about 14 years with Nashua Soup Kitchen, and he used to do a lot of work for people who were homeless and a lot of families that were struggling and at risk of being homeless to repair their cars. And I can't even tell you how many hundreds of thousands of dollars he must have written off. We had a running joke, though, that as much as he could fix a car, he could not use his fax machine, because invoices and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really going to miss him. I really miss his down-to-earth. But I think he left behind a community that's very grateful for everything that he did with it. Assuming also join Alderman Clemens in heaven, I will wish him well to see him. I also wanted to comment on 243 Main Street. It has been some discussion regarding it since the front facade started to bow outwards and look like it was in danger of falling into Main Street. So we have worked very closely with the landlord, myself, neighbors, and some of the departments to make sure that they are able to house everybody over the weekend when a lot of the normal supportive services were closed. They were in a tough spot because suddenly they had to pay in cash for all of the residents to be in a motel. Their banks were closed. The motel wouldn't take multiple bookings because of COVID-19. So there's a lot of navigating that Jessica did on the part of the landlords, and she's been coordinating with the residents to make sure they could all get in and out of their apartment. There's a snake in there that needs to be fed daily, so we're making sure that he gets what he needs. And she is working with the code enforcement department to make sure that it's safe to return to, because as much as people don't want to live in Motel 6, in working with the residents, they're just as concerned about going back to a building where the front of it may fall down. That's where their entrance is. That's where their elevator is. So the landlord is working very closely with code enforcement to make sure that it's safe to return to and that there's a plan for developing it. I'm working with Jessica to make sure she has the resources she needs, and then we're connecting with any residents that were displaced due to it. And on that note, I noticed that the fire department had to respond to a fire on top of 23 Temple Street. So this is a really good time to bring up to the board that we need to really fine tune our emergency response protocols to make sure that we know clearly what to do as aldermen. Because if you experience something like that in your neighborhood, there isn't a clear blueprint for who you're supposed to talk to, what departments you're supposed to check in with, who you're supposed to refer residents to. So that's definitely an area to look at. I have reached out to Alderman Schmidt regarding discussing that in substandard living conditions, so that we can refine that plan and make sure that any resident or any experiences by residents are being heard, but also any of the departments that feel like they need more resources or legislative authority, that we are actually addressing those needs as well. I do want to thank Meg Doucette, who organized the Southern New Hampshire Emergency Alerts, and Carol Chapman. There were no volunteers as well, but they took the lead on Monday when all of the Soup Kitchen and United Way were closed, in making sure that lasagnas were made and brought to the residents in Motel 6, because that's got to be the worst Labor Day experience I can imagine. So I really appreciate that human touch and when neighbors are able to come together for each other for things like that. I want to express my condolences also to the family and friends of Lulu. She was really well known on the rail trail. She struggled with a lot of substance abuse issues, and she did pass away due to overdose. We all cheer for her when she's out and she's, interacting with people and she's looking good and healthy. We were concerned when she would disappear for months at a time, and so we got word last week that she had passed away, and so it's very difficult right now dealing with the COVID break and the needs of restaurants and businesses downtown struggling economically, to also see a complete discouraging surge in overdoses and in suicides and in mental health issues. So in conclusion, I also want to recognize Revive Recovery Resource Center and Rise Above, because they had a cornhole tournament this past Sunday at Greeley Park. They're working on developing a sober community center, which I think is an essential piece of the puzzle here in Nashua, where we have crisis centers and we have peer support centers. We need places for people to congregate that are safe, that are sober, that are clean. We encourage a lot of drinking and legalization of this and that in the downtown area for economic reasons. And I'm happy that they're working so hard to make sure that we have resources and amenities for everybody. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm very grateful for the presence of Revive and the other support programs that have been developed by people who've been through that experience. And like Meg and like Carol are working to take their experiences and use them to help other people. So thanks for your indulgence. I know that was a lot, but it's been a long month.
Thank you, Alderman Lopez. Alderwoman Kelly.
Thank you. I have a few pieces here. So I want to start by just recognizing that yesterday was the first day of school yesterday. I want to thank our district staff, all of the teachers and parents, obviously, who are working together to make this happen at a weird time. And I know everybody's doing their very, very best, so I appreciate that going off fairly seamlessly. I also wanted to mention the groundbreaking at 10 Paxton Terrace for the veteran housing that was done last week. A number of aldermen were in attendance and they just did a lovely job. Looking forward to seeing those two pieces come on. If you guys remember, they're going to be 2 units for families with 3 bedrooms on each side, and it's specifically for veterans. So that was a lovely event. I wanted to thank our new city clerk for a seamless primary in the middle of the pandemic. Not easy. I went and voted with my family in the morning, and it was seamless at Ward 5. So thank you for your hard work on that. And 2 more things. I wanted to shout out the Farmers Market. Great American Downtown, Paul Shea and Jennifer and have been doing an incredible job. Every week, Alderman Klee is there, making sure that people are following the masks and making many masks of her own. But it's been a nice outlet and community, and really everyone's been following socially distance guidelines very well. So I've been appreciative of that community effort, and the people keep going up and up and up. So it was a beautiful weekend this weekend, and hopefully more people will come out. It's Sundays on City Hall Plaza from 10 to 2. And then finally, I just also wanted to express my concern for the mayor and his wife. I definitely hope that they are able to, I know they will, fare this and move forward. And I think it's just a reminder that we have to stay vigilant. I read something the other day that said just because you're over it, the pandemic doesn't mean it's over. And I think that's kind of where we all are. So masks, wash your hands, listen to the public experts because they know what they're talking about. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderwoman Kelly. Alderman Dowd.
Yes, just a couple things. I had a very wonderful weekend, Labor Day weekend. I just added my 4th granddaughter to the family, and mother and baby are doing fine. And I'm out here in Rochester, New York, which I'm sure everybody's seeing on the nightly news. Fortunately, it's not close to where I am, but not too far away either. But I can tell you that everyone out here is wearing a mask, and every business, every store has a sign that you have no service if you're not wearing a mask. You cannot come in. And they all have the 6-foot spacing on the floors. They're taking it quite seriously in New York, and they're doing quite well. As listening to the governor yesterday on, and he I think he's doing a great job here in New York to stem this pandemic. And I wish we had more of an effort in the federal government. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Dowd. Anyone else?
Yes. Madam President?
Alderman Karen.
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who participated in the 16th annual Back to School event. Because of the pandemic, we had to improvise this year, and instead of being at the library, we were at the middle school at Elm Street, we were at Amherst Street School, and we were at Fairgrounds Elementary School. And within 1 hour, all three schools gave out the 1,500 bags that had been put together a couple of days before. So I really want to thank the United Way, the Recovery Program, the National Lions Club, and McNulty and Foley for providing the lunch, and all those administrators from the various schools that showed up that day and saw their students, wishing them good luck. I think the students were so excited to see their principals and vice principals. It was a hot day. I thank Lisa Gingras with her athletes who came down and spent hours with us on that day, directing traffic with Nashua PD, who did a fabulous job. So hopefully next year we'll be back in the library, but we really, really appreciate that. And this comes from the committee as a whole. As you know, Mary Ann Melisa-Gola and George Cadis from Nashua Wallpaper are the co-chairs and who have been overseeing this project for the last 16 years. I'd like to also thank Sue Lovering. You made it, the trial by fire, and kudos to you and all your staff, because I know how hard those ward workers work, and all those volunteers who came in to help you with the absentee ballots. And I know that you will do a fabulous job come November. And I appreciate everything that all our city employees have been doing during this pandemic and craziness that's going on in our world. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Karen. Anyone else? Seeing none. Committee announcements. Alderman Laws.
Tuesday, September 29th, Pennachuck Special Water Committee.
Okay. Alderwoman Kelly.
Wow, I can't even remember the date. I'm tired. This upcoming Monday, the Human Affairs Committee will meet at 7 p.m. We'll be having a presentation on affordable housing and just sort of the state of the state. So everyone is obviously invited to come and listen.
Thank you. Anyone else? Committee announcements?
Yep. I'll
Alderman
just
Karen.
repeat it. Yes, thank you. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, Personnel Administration will be meeting. We'll be the mayor will be introducing members for his committee for the master plan, and also we will be discussing the new mask ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other committee announcements? Seeing none, Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make a motion that the September 9th, 2020 meeting of the Board of Aldermen be adjourned by roll.
Thank you. Just before I do that, I'm really sorry. I meant to call out Sue Lovering and her staff and all the poll workers, and what a fantastic job they did. I mean, everybody worked hard under these conditions. I mean, it was kind of learn on the go kind of thing with everything new because of the pandemic. But I think they did a wonderful job. So thank you, Ms. Lovering. You are to be commended very much. Thank you. Okay, so the motion before us is to adjourn. Miles doesn't want to adjourn?
He does not.
Okay, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman O'Brien.
All right.
Yes.
That's a love.
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly,
That's yes.
Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderman Karen,
Yes.
Alderman Clemmons,
Yes.
Alderman Lopez,
Engage.
Alderman Tenza,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Harriet Gathright,
Yes.
Alderman Wiltshire.
Yes.
You have 14 yeas and 0 nays.
And that motion carries. We are adjourned at 9:20 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Good night,
Bye,
everyone.
Miles.
Night.